Hello and welcome to the Smart Chiropractor Show. I am Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. We have an awesome show lined up for you as we do each and every Tuesday. We're going to talk mindset, marketing, clinical conversations, and much more, all on today's show. If you have questions, drop them below. Please be sure to hit that notification button or subscribe if you're checking this out on YouTube. That way you do not miss a segment or a show coming up. It's going to be a good one, Jason. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's, summertime and all is good. We've got so much exciting stuff coming out. I wish these shows would actually last longer. We've got so much to say, so much to teach, so much to share. I'm excited to be here today and at least get that process started. Thank you all for joining us. Let's have a great show.
I could not agree more. Let's kick it off with our Mindset Mentor segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to the Mindset Mentor segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Today we're going to talk about memberships and subscriptions. You probably see them everywhere, but in your practice. And Jason, this is such an important topic that we've been talking about and teasing into the last few months. We'll be talking a lot more about it in the coming months. And for the docs out there that are curious on that lead-in, memberships, subscriptions, my practice, I think everybody sees them out there. They probably realize that there might be a hole in their bucket, but why do docs need to pay attention to this exceedingly important topic?
You know, every segment we do this Mindset Mentor conversation. Sometimes we're going to talk about mentors who help us understand how to develop a mindset of positivity, of creation, of, really understanding that we are in control of our lives and we're not victims to our environment. And in today's segment, Jeff and I are going to take the liberty of being our own mentors and being your mentor. Because what we're going to talk about this week is a mindset for your business. You say, what are you talking about? What do you mean a mindset for my business? Well, we believe that after many, many decades of chiropractors really practicing in pretty much the same business model, and I'll say the same business model, meaning two business models that are both similar in concept, meaning they're transactional fee for service models that you have, whether somebody pays out of pocket or whether you charge an insurance company and then get reimbursed at some point in the future. You are charging and receiving money on a per visit, per transaction basis. And what we're going to talk about today when it comes to mindset is adjusting how you've been thinking about that specific mindset, that specific business model all this time. Now, why? The reason why is because we've noticed two really significant things. Thing number one is that most chiropractors actually find themselves in monthly financial stress. Jeff and I, for decades, have been really working with the profession in a variety of different ways to help more chiropractors, help more people. And that oftentimes means that you get good at what we call teaching and inviting consistently. That means that you've got knowledge about why people should be receiving your services, not just chiropractic services, but your specific services with you as the chiropractor, which may and probably is different than other chiropractors providing services in your community. So it's not all the same. When we say chiropractic, go see a chiropractor, this is what chiropractic is. We may have the best of intentions when we say that, but the reality is from the consumer, patient, person's point of view, that's just not exactly true. And the reason I say it's not exactly true is because you could walk into 10 different chiropractors' offices and have 10 different experiences. And we used to think that that was a problem. What we recognize now is that that's reality. And so the question is, why is it that so many chiropractors find themselves month after month after month consistently needing more new patients every single month? And as we've done everything we can to possibly inspire more chiropractors to think about teaching and inviting consistently, meaning building an audience, building a tribe, building a following of people that want to follow you, that learn to learn from you, that want to be connected to you as their trusted doctor. Many, 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 if not most chiropractors we talk to go, that's a great idea, but I need new patients now. So is this advertising? Is this going to get me new patients tomorrow and the next day when I need them? Or is this one of those longer term things that's good and sounds great and would be nice if I had enough new patients, if I wasn't financially stressed out? If I, as the chiropractor, wasn't so needy myself, I could afford to be generous and teach and invite others consistently. And that's really issue number one we found. Issue number two we found is that the world has changed. Look around. Look at what's going on in the world right now. These little devices and these social networks have revolutionized basically every business out there in some way, sometimes small, sometimes large. You don't see many travel agents anymore. You don't see many record stores anymore. You probably don't even take taxis much anymore. Why? Because the world has changed and business has changed. And so I guess I'll say weekly connection conversation about mentoring and mindset is understanding how do we put those two things together, and what do we need to do as a profession? What do you need to do as a chiropractor to reduce, maybe even eliminate your financial stress forever? Now, what does that mean, reduce your financial stress forever? It means that you no longer have to market for new patients because plenty of people are coming to see you because they want to see you, not just because you've got a great discount, because, wow, that's a massage, a first visit, an adjustment, even a report of findings, all of that for less than $100. I mean, you got to be crazy not to take advantage of it. And still many don't. Imagine that. It's the best deal you can find. And yet still people struggle building a practice using these tactics. Now, the challenge with the tactics are this, and this is what happened to me. I'll just share my experience as I was in practice. And one of the reasons why I got out of practice. Practice lost its joy for me after many years when I finally sort of recognized and realized that, what I signed up for as a chiropractor, the reason I became a chiropractor, became very different in day-to-day practice when it came time to running a business, to paying my bills, to making sure that I could pay the rent and my staff and all the insurances and student loans and all of the monthly recurring expenses it just took to keep the doors of my practice open. And we didn't have this opportunity back in the days when I was in practice, but we do have the opportunity now. And the only reason our profession isn't taking massive advantage of this opportunity is because of our mindset. So what we're going to talk about today, this has been one of those interesting things, memberships and subscriptions. Since Jeff and I have been researching the topic, we've actually written a book about the topic. We'll soon to be launching a training about the topic. But it's just a funny thing. If you understand how sort of quantum physics works, or maybe just what you might call coincidence, have you ever had that experience where you thought about buying a new car, for example? I'm looking for a blank particular kind of car, maybe even a particular kind of car in a particular color. And as soon as you've got that vision in your mind of what you are looking for, you notice that you see them all over town driving. You're like, wait, that's the car I'm talking about. Wait, that's the car I'm thinking about getting. I would look good in that car. And somehow, the same community you've been living in all this time, now your favorite car seems to be everywhere. Why? Because of your focus and your attention and intention. Well, that's what's been happening to me. And since we've been talking about memberships and subscriptions, wouldn't you know, I'm finding them everywhere. And so I just want to share a few of them with you here just this last week. I didn't even look for these. They came to me. They found me in my email and in my social media. And I'll just share just a few to give you a sense of how popular memberships and subscriptions are in the real world. And we're going to do everything we possibly can to convince you, to persuade you, to adjust your mindset, to create your own membership, maybe even a membership and a subscription model for your practice. Why? not because you need another thing to do, not because you need more confusing issues and you need more work to do. No, just the opposite. The model we're bringing to the profession, the mindset we are adjusting in most chiropractors who pay attention to what we're talking about, is that you should imagine your practice going from the first day of every month, when traditionally every practice goes back to zero in collections. Let me say, the hardest way to run a business, the hardest way to run a practice is probably the way you might be doing it right now. I'm just saying, that's just reality. A single doctor in a single office with transactional services that goes back to zero in collections every first of the month, so that you then have to start and build your collections to hopefully be able to cover your expenses and maybe be able to have some profit left over at the end. That is the most stressful way to run a practice, to run a business. You say, what are you talking about? What other way is there? The other way is what we call the payday practice. It is adopting the mindset of memberships and subscriptions. We'll get into detail of what that means in more detail, but the mindset is, what if the first of the month changed from zero in collections and turned into payday? Payday meaning you generate enough revenue on the first day of every month to cover your monthly expenses. Now, a lot of chiropractors say, the problem with this profession is that they don't teach you about business in chiropractic school. And if I only knew about business, I would be better at business. Well, I'm going to teach you what you need to know about business right here, right now. It's enough with the complaints, no more victimhood. It's not the school's fault. Here's what you need to know about business if you're a chiropractor. You ready? Here it goes. Every dollar you earn above your expenses is your profit. I'm going to say it again. Every dollar you earn above your expenses is your profit. Think about that for just a moment. Shouldn't the question be, how do I ensure I cover all my expenses as quickly as possible and as automatic as possible so that I can profit as much as possible? Yes, that is the way we should be thinking about it. And the answer to that question is by creating memberships and subscriptions for your favorite products that people are probably already buying anyway. By having those people buy the products they're buying from you instead of Amazon, Target, Costco, anywhere else they might be buying them, but buying your favorite products from you that they're already buying anyway, and joining a membership program for the services they're already coming in for or should be coming in for proactively. By creating what we call a second front door in your practice, you are able to model after some of the most successful companies on the planet. For example, just this week, I got an email from Amazon. You've heard of it. Pretty successful company, one of the most successful companies for years now. And wouldn't you know it, they're suggesting that I subscribe to receive a different box every month of something that I'm interested in, something that I follow, that I care about, whether it's tea or candles or T-shirts or whatever it may be. If I'm a buyer of a particular type of product, it's probably likely I might be buying that product over and over and over again. And it's actually a convenience for me to have it automatically shipped to my home every single month, automatically. I say thank you. That's a great thing. But guess what it is? It's great business for Amazon. It's great business for any business that has a recurring product or service. We'll get into details of what I mean. What I want to stay with here today is the mindset of what would it be like if you could generate all or even a portion of the recurring revenue you need to cover your monthly recurring expenses each and every month so that eventually you can practice financially stress-free. So I got one from Amazon this week. I got another one from Adidas. My son bought some sneakers a couple months ago, I think it was. I bought them for him. And next thing you know, I'm getting emails from Adidas keeping in touch with me. Are you sending emails to keep in touch with your people? I don't mean sales emails. I mean keep in touch with people. Well, Adidas did it to me. And wouldn't you know, they invited me to become part of their new Addy Club. That membership has its privileges. And if I identify with being an Adidas wearer, maybe I'd want to be part of the Adidas tribe. Well, I didn't join, but I did get inspired about their membership. Well, speaking of my son and sneakers, and that's what sneakerheads do these days, I got another email as well, because he's not buying it yet for himself, from a thing called the Retro Sneaker Club. So the Retro Sneaker Club is exactly what it sounds like. Retro sneakers, usually Nike Air Forces or Air Jordans or something like that, a different color, a different colorway as they call it, with a bunch of different other things that any sneakerhead would love. Go to the site and buy it when you feel like it? Absolutely not. Get it shipped to you each and every month. There's even 3 or 4 different options for Retro Sneaker Club memberships I could choose from. Memberships and subscriptions. We're going to keep repeating it over and over. And the last one I got that may be most relevant to what we're talking about here is a new company called Restore Hyper Wellness, or Restore Wellness. And their membership is called a Hyper Wellness Program. So this is a wellness facility. This one happens to be in La Jolla. When I was out visiting and a friend of mine mentioned it, I said, let me go check out their membership. Let me see what's up. Next thing you know, I'm getting emails, I'm getting texts, I'm in there seeing their social media posts and so on. And what do they want me to do? They want me to be proactive, get well, and stay well. Well, how do they do it? If I join the monthly membership program, I've got access to a variety of different health-enhancing services, whether it's sauna or hyperbaric or a whole variety of different services they have available that if I'm interested in staying healthy proactively, I should be going to their place each and every month. Should I go when I feel like it? Should I go and pay top dollar? Or should I join their membership so that I actually take advantage and go to the place I should be going anyway? Just think about it. If you are a member of any type of fitness club, country club, health club, somewhere you go that you're already a member, why do you do it? You do it because you want to be connected to their social connection. You do it because you actually know you want the outcome. And when you join, you're more incentivized to go and get the outcome. Think about it. If you had to pay each time you went to the gym, as opposed to paying monthly, knowing I better take advantage and get my money's worth for what I'm paying, most of you probably wouldn't go to the gym as much as you do now if you had to pay each time you went. And that mindset mindset applies to chiropractors and chiropractic patients, clients, or members as well. Many people wait and figure out that they'll come in when they feel about $50 worth of pain. Do you get it? That they wait until it hurts enough that the cost per transaction is about equal. That's how they think. So what if you created a membership we will call a proactive membership, so that people who want to be proactive with their health have an opportunity to say, yes, I'm in. Each and every month, charge my credit card because I want to come in. I understand the value. I understand the benefits. I want the best price available that you can give me, and I want you to go ahead, charge my card each and every month. The first of the month is fine, and I will be in for at least one visit. If you feel it should be more, then make your membership however is philosophically aligned with your ethics. But this is the new way for chiropractors to be able to eliminate their financial stress forever. And what Jeff and I are going to be bringing in the days, weeks, months, and I'll even say years to come is a brand new model for how chiropractors, or maybe I'll say smart chiropractors, can implement a variety of different memberships and subscriptions. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It is a process for you to go through to figure out, what are my goals short-term? What are my goals long-term? How much do I need to earn each and every month to not feel financially stressed out? And how do I build the right combination of memberships and subscriptions? Subscriptions, for example, for supplements. Like I mentioned, 50% of your practice, maybe more, is already buying supplements from somewhere, some way, each and every month. Why aren't they buying them from you? And let me be clear. I'm not talking about the treatment type of supplements. I'm not saying if you've got this problem, take this supplement. I'm not getting into the treatment model. I'm talking about proactive health. I'm talking about the supplements like daily multivitamins, daily greens, omegas, vitamin D, the things we refer to as everybody, everyday supplements, the things everybody should be taking, that they're buying from other places that they ask you about. Why aren't they buying that from you? Why aren't you offering it? And if you're not, there's probably a lot of reasons I'm very familiar with. You're not sure it fits with your ethics. You're not sure if it's aligned with your philosophy. It's a hassle. You're not sure if you can profit from doing it. And of course, you certainly can make more money having another person come in for an adjustment or getting a new patient than dealing with the hassles of selling supplements. Until now. Jeff and I have developed a program we'll be sharing with you when we share the payday practice called the Smart Care Store and Basis Health Supplements that are all based on helping chiropractors build membership programs and subscription programs. Why? So that you can reduce and eliminate your financial stress forever. Memberships and subscriptions are everywhere except your practice. And Jeff and I, in the days, weeks, and months to come, are going to invite you to join us on this new journey to understand how do you reduce, eventually eliminate your financial stress forever. Why? Because I guarantee you, you will be a better chiropractor when money is not an issue. I guarantee you, you'll be a better husband or wife, a better father, mother, daughter, son. You will be a better human being when you're not stressed out about finances. Maybe most importantly, you'll actually like and appreciate, maybe I'll dare say respect yourself at a higher level when you don't always have that internal dialogue about why you can be so good at what you do and yet still stress for the money. That's what happened to me in practice. It's why I actually retired from practice to move into what I was doing. Practice lost its joy for me when it kept becoming about the money, about the business, about needing more new patients every single month. It just lost its fun and its joy. Maybe you find yourself in that situation as well. What Jeff and I have put together and what we're going to be launching in the near future, what we're sharing with you here today with the Payday Practice, is all about solving your financial stress so you can be the person, the human being, the chiropractor that you can be most proud of and most excited to be. Jeff, we've been talking about this idea for a while. We've been looking at other types of membership programs, subscription programs, what supplements are out there, who's doing it, and no one is doing it for the chiropractic profession. I'm excited. I know you're excited. What are your thoughts on what you think chiros need to know to make this adjustment in their mind to make the shift to reduce their financial stress forever?
Jason, I'd say the biggest piece of advice that I would have is stay tuned, because we're going to have a lot of great stuff coming out that really will help docs along that process. Keep staying tuned to Mindset Mentor segment on Smart Chiropractor Show. Stay tuned to your email. See what's up. See what other companies, big businesses, small businesses, businesses that are in your community, that are global brands, see what they're up to, because that starts to inform what's possible for you and your practice. And in just a couple weeks, we'll have the Payday Practice out there, which will really be that book and take you through everything step A through Z. So this is a huge passion project of Jason and myself, because we believe that too many chiropractors out there are shortchanging their patients and shortchanging their long-term financial future by really having 99.9999% of their revenue fee for service. We don't want you to change being a chiropractor by any stretch of the imagination. What we'd love to see you do, as Jason eloquently described, is reduce that stress, increase that revenue, and really, expedite or lift up your patient experience. And we believe one of the best ways to do that is through recurring products and services that help people get more out of what you can provide, while also helping them live the highest quality of life possible. So stay tuned, get excited. If you want to do a little homework, that's a scary word there, check out what other companies are doing, because there's some great models already out there, and we believe that we've refined a couple that'll be really, really nice for you and your practice. So Jason, great kickoff with the Mindset Mentor on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Let's head over to Clinical Conversations. Clinical Conversations on today's Smart Chiropractor show. Clinical Conversations is our segment where we, not surprisingly, get clinical. We've been highlighting a variety of our awesome speakers from Axis 2021, which was our online clinical event. Today is going to be no exception, but I want to plant that bug and say keep your eyes and ears peeled in the coming weeks and months as we announce not only the date, but the lineup for Axis 2022. But looking back to 2021, we have been showcasing 10-minute snippets of the really great presenters, topics, and presentations that we were fortunate to have at Axis 2021. And as I said, today's going to be no exception. We have a all-time great, Dr. Gerry Clum. He presented on spontaneous intracranial hypotension. I looked down because I wanted to make sure I get that medical term correct. And it was a fantastic presentation. This is an area he has spent a lot of time, effort, and energy understanding at a level higher than anybody I have seen or heard. And we wanted to share some of that presentation with you today. So we're going to pick it up as Gerry and Dr. Clum was heading into the causation aspects of this. And I think you're going to get a lot of fantastic information that you can apply in your practice. So without further ado, let's head over to Dr. Clum's presentation from Axis 2021.
The lack of controls is another feature that is important relative to causation establishment. So relative to location, to the leaks by location, the most common location for dural leaks to develop is the cervical thoracic junction. The second most common leak is the thoracolumbar junction. And obviously you understand better than most people that those are transition points for forces in the spine and for strains in the cerebrospinal fluid circulation as it passes from the cranial vault through the foramen magnum down to the filum terminale and the anchoring in the lower portions of the spine and the coccyx. Now, another complicating feature associated with these problems is that among patients who have spontaneous leaks, not those that were produced by a lumbar puncture, but spontaneous, between 30 and 40% of those patients will be leaking from more than one location. So this becomes a generalized problem, and it's a lot of shooting in the dark for surgeons who are attempting to repair these problems. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit as well. So let's talk about imaging associated with this type of problem. The most sensitive study for detecting cerebrospinal fluid leaks is a CT myelogram, and a CT myelogram of the full spine. The problem with CT myelography, particularly full spine CT myelography, is that it involves a good bit of radiation. The amount of radiation is between 15 and 50 millisieverts associated with a full spine CT myelogram. And that has been expressed to have a potential risk factor of between 1 in 500 and 1 in 2,000 patients, that level of radiation would be enough to induce a cancer of some type. The second problem with CT myelograms is that CT myelograms are themselves invasive, and they require the injection of dye within the dural sac. So the very problem that we're trying to address, someone's trying to address, such as a dural leak, is going to be induced by injecting into the dural sac again in the process of this study. So while CT myelography is the most sensitive, it may not be the most appropriate or the most viable. In contrast, MRI of the brain is a no radiation, brain and spinal full spine is a no radiation environment and is a non-puncture environment, obviously without contrast. So when we begin this process of evaluation, most centers that evaluate these types of problems begin with an MRI of the brain and MRI of the spine as well. Some will do that with and without contrast. Some will do one or the other. And the things that they'll be looking for in that process are subdural fluid collections, venous engorgement, pachymeningeal enhancement, pituitary hyperemia, and then the sagging of the brain, the Chiari-like look to the brain. And again, that sagging is produced by the diminished CSF and the diminished buoyancy of the brain and the lowering of the cerebellar tonsils into or toward the foramen magnum. So how often do these things occur? Well, There's a couple of studies we can look at. One in 1995 that came out of Olmsted County, Minnesota, that suggested that the incidence of these problems was about 1 per 50,000 persons. In 2007, a study was published that said the incidence was more like 1 in 20,000 persons. And we know that the phenomenon occurs more commonly in females than in males at a ratio of about 2 to 1. The average age of onset is between 38 and 42 years of age, but the condition has been reported in young children as well as in elderly. And there is no ethnic predominance for this condition in any particular group or subgroup. So what are the clinical signs that would be associated with dural leaks? Well, first and foremost, that we've already talked about several times, is the classic positional postural headache. This is the kind of headache that the patient, when they get up in the morning, is no problem. They're up for a few minutes, perhaps an hour. They start getting this drawing, pulling headache obviously in the head, and it's very quickly resolved with recumbency and laying down. And you can appreciate the fact that if we have had a leak and we've lost buoyancy, that laying down restores that. Requires less pressure to cause fluid to circulate back up, and the floating level of the brain increases. But in addition to the classic sign of the postural headache associated with dural leaks, these patients may also express with nausea, vomiting, neck pain, facial numbness, diplopia, changes in hearing, photophobia, visual blurring, upper limb pain or paresthesias, dysgeusia, isolated cranial nerve involvement, and a flattening of the basis pontus. Now, obviously, I'm not aware of any patient that's had all of these problems. Like many conditions, a few of these, one of these, two of these may be signs for you to keep in mind. When you have a patient with postural headache and you have any of these types of signs associated with it, it should obviously cause your antenna to go up very quickly and quite dramatically. But we want to keep these in mind. And if you think about these types of patients, these are a lot of these symptoms are symptoms you'll see in a post whiplash associated disorder. They're the kinds of symptoms you might be associated with a vertebral artery dissection, an area that I've worked in the past and have been continue to be quite involved in. So there are areas that we want to be careful about, and we want to be alert to along the way. They could be things that our care would be absolutely appropriate for, no questions asked. And they could, in contrast, be things that might be in the best to be in the hands of a surgeon. And that's our job to help sort that out. Now, I said earlier that connective tissue disorders were a possible indicator of, or a possible associated problem that would lead to dural leaks. And some of the connective tissue disorders that we can look at will be very well defined, like an Ehlers-Danlos syndrome or a Marfan syndrome. But others won't be so well defined, and they may just be an odd or isolated collagen disorder or connective tissue activity that we wouldn't necessarily think to be associated with a dural leak. Now I'm talking about things like early cataracts, retinal detachment, the development of scoliosis, a high arched palate, markedly flexible joints, typical of Marfan's, as we said before, markedly flexible skin, typical of Ehlers-Danlos, unusual scars, unusually long fingers, again associated with Marfan's, history of a collapsed lung, a spontaneous collapsed lung in the patient or in a family member, an unusually tall stature, tall, thin stature, again, the Marfan's type presentation associated in that individual or seen in that individual or in their family. And then unusual heart valves, such as mitral valve problems, a history of vascular anomalies, such as aneurysm, dilated or tortuous blood vessels, or dissection. So all of these types of symptoms and these types of conditions, we wouldn't necessarily associate these or think dural leaks when we hear about a patient with these. But we begin to combine together the postural headache. We begin to combine together some of the symptoms of nausea and vomiting that we talked about, or paresthesias and so on, with these types of connective tissue disorders that are delineated on this slide. we begin to see this starting to form into a picture that becomes more readily identifiable as you bring more information to the table. So let's get to the specifics about dural leaks and chiropractic care. The first reference to chiropractic care and spontaneous intracranial hypertension appeared in 2000 in a report of a series of 30 patients. One of these patients had received chiropractic care at some unspecified point along the way during their care. And there was no suggestion by the author, no suggestion of causation, simply a reference to the fact that one patient had, quote, a history of chiropractic manipulation, while others in this study had a history of golf, exercise, swimming, or cough. Again, the author did not say chiropractic care caused this. It just simply observed that the patient had one patient in 30 had this problem. In 2001, a year later, an author by the name of Gerry reported on a 35-year-old man with post-whiplash associated disorder. So the patient had a situation that in and of itself, the whiplash disorder, could have produced the dural leak.
All right. That was a look back at Access 2021. Dr. Gerry Clum presenting a fantastic presentation on spontaneous intracranial hypotension. He talked a lot about dural leaks right there. That could be something that causes that dramatic decrease or that hypotension. I saw it most prevalent when I was in multidisciplinary practice. We'd see it post-surgically. If the surgeon happened to nick the cord, you can get a dural leak that way. Thankfully, most of the time, it just ends up with a really bad headache for a few days. But there were occasions where they'd have to go back in and use some form of glue and non-ideally even put a stitch or two there. So the good news is, I think from a chiropractic perspective, we rarely see these types of things, and we really have nothing to do with causation. However, it's important to stay up to date. So if a patient comes into your practice and something just doesn't seem right, it's great to have that knowledge base to be able to dig into and really help identify who they should see, where they should go, so they can get their best care possible and that they can live their best life. And that is, all about really being able to identify, sort through, triage, and understand what's going on with those patients. So you don't need to be an expert in every single thing, but having that bit of information like we bring to you during Access is a great way to stay up to date on the clinical topics. And nobody better than Dr. Clum to present that topic, Jason.
Dr. Clum's amazing. It's great that we're able to have such an expert share really the secrets of the body, the secrets of how the body works and what it looks like when it's not functioning the way it's supposed to. That is very much part of being a great chiropractor, is not just being a great communicator, which is important, not just being a great adjuster, which is very important, but really understanding how the body works, the secrets of the body, what it means when it's working well, what it means when it's not working to its potential or has some sort of trauma and damage. It's always great to learn from Dr. Clum, and I am also super excited for Access 2022. It's great to keep sharpening our skills to understand the miracle of how amazing the body is. It is something we should have reverence for, and when we see topics like this, things happen. And the more we understand what those things are and how they work and how they're supposed to work, better chiropractors we're going to be. So great choice. And as always, thank you, Dr. Clum, for your service.
I'm glad we kicked it back over to get those thoughts. I definitely could not have said it that well. I could not agree more, Jason. Thank you thanks for bearing with and sharing there. Let's head over to our Research That Matters segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Research That Matters on the Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome. That's where we are headed right now. And our Research That Matters segment is all around highlighting what our smart chiropractors are doing to teach and invite consistently. If you've been following along, you probably know we think about marketing on our annual calendar, then we look at monthly campaigns, weekly topics, and daily posts. Right now it is May, so our monthly campaign has been all around posture, the science of body positioning, and our weekly topic is the surprising link between posture and depression. And I want you to keep in mind, when we bring up these weekly topics and these monthly campaigns, these are really designed to, as I like to say, help you proactively answer the questions people in your community have about their health. The more that you can proactively answer those questions, the more trust you'll build, the more people will like what you're talking about. It's a great way to be helpful. It's a great way to be a doctor, a teacher, and an educator. We know posture is one of those core tenets that lives in and around our chiropractic practices. And this weekly topic is around posture and depression. Yes, we have talked around and about tech neck. Yes, we've talked about ergonomics. However, there is something very real between that intersection of psychology and physiology, and understanding some simple tips. And this is not to make you into a psychiatrist or a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but really to be able to offer practical advice that can make meaningful changes in people's lives. And we see this time and time again, that confident posture. It can really make immediate changes in our psychology, in our mood. And that's a very, very powerful item. And I can tell you, I think about this like a pyramid. If I go right to the bottom of the pyramid, if somebody has a segmental challenge, they're unable to move correctly, and they're naturally defaulting to a depressed posture, that's not good. So at the bare minimum, helping people move, remain pain-free, stay optimistic, and coaching them potentially on stretches and exercises they can do to more easily maintain a confident posture is a great way to impact people's lives just beyond the pain relief alone. And with the proliferation of tech neck and the phones and the tablets, and with the amount of time we're spending on computers, commuting in a car, this is more important than ever. And helping people understand, as mental health has become such a big topic in the worldwide society that we live in, which is an important topic, there's a meaningful place where I believe us as chiropractors can really work and help people stay more optimistic, help people stay more positive. And yes, that can come down with all the words that you say and the interactions that you have and how you position yourself, but also through their movement patterns. If movement was not important enough, now it plays not only to how somebody can go through their hobbies and activities, but how they are psychologically getting through the day. It's an important place for you to be able to lead the conversation, because also, as I like to say, if you're not leading that conversation, who is? This is an important topic. I can guarantee almost nobody in your community is talking about it right now, but these are questions people in your community have about their health. Jason, I love this topic. It is a little bit nuanced, but I believe there's unbelievable power in that nuance.
You know, the nuance actually is the opportunity, because if it was completely defined and everybody understood it, and it wasn't sort of wide and has really a variety of different ways to talk about it, then you wouldn't need to talk about it. You know, I think posture, and I'll even add this conversation around whether it's depression or mental health in general, I think those are two of the most popular and important topics people are talking about actively or thinking about not actively, but internally. And here's what I mean by why. You touched on it. I'll dig a little deeper on it. You know, chiropractors, I think, if I can just be blunt because I am one, have gotten a little bit lazy. And now, don't get offended. Here's what I mean by that. And if this isn't you, then great. But many chiropractors sort of leave the work to let me wait until somebody's looking for a chiropractor, going to a search engine, typing in chiropractor and your town, and that's when they're ready to come to your office and get care. But the reality is, it is far before that time that people go, maybe I need a chiropractor, that they should be hearing from you. Now, should be hearing from you about what? They should be hearing from you about the things they're thinking and they're interested in. Posture is one of those things. Now, they may not go, oh, I'm interested in my posture. But I don't know a parent out there that's not concerned about how their children are on their devices, either their phone, their tablet, or their desktop or their laptop. I know there's no parent I know that's not concerned with how much time their child or children are spending in front of some sort of screen and the position or posture that they are actually in. In fact, it's not uncommon that just about every household in America, and even worldwide, let's just talk about America, that actually is guilty of doing this? Well, that is a conversation that you could and should be having with people in your community. Why? Well, everyone's doing it, and I'm not saying that's a good trend. I'm saying that's a bad trend that you should be talking about, because the impact of that forward head posture, and as Jeff mentioned, the depression posture. I could sit in a particular way and you could tell me how I'm feeling without me saying anything. I look at people like Tony Robbins, who's been talking about posture and how your neurology is trained to feel what it feels based on your position. So if you're tall and tight, your mind is trained to think that that's excitement. If you are bent forward and staring at your phone all the time, then your body is trained to feel a sense of closure or depressed. That's what it is, literally and physically. You look at people like Jordan Peterson, who's very popular now on the internet, who wrote a book about the 12 laws of life. And it's amazing to me, coincidence, call it what you want, validation is what I'll call it. The number one first rule of life, according to a clinical psychologist, very well educated, very well researched, is to stand tall. Why? Because that's how people perceive you, but that's also how your mind and your brain perceives yourself too. It all starts with your posture and then leads into the relationship of your posture and mental health. After this insanity we've just gone through, hopefully we're at somewhere close to the other side. We'll see what happens as time goes on. But the concept of mental health is a conversation many, if not most people are having and asking, whether it's for themselves, a family member, a friend, a coworker, a colleague. It's an issue. And it's an issue you could be talking about and in some cases helping to solve or resolve. Why? Because sometimes your mental attitude has everything to do with your posture, your position. And I like this topic so much, Jeff and I, we created a program called lookupamerica.org for exactly this reason. These topics each and every month that we highlight here under Research That Matters are designed to be a way for us to give you a monthly campaign for us to share content on your behalf with your audience via email, via social, via the video in your office. But for many of you, there are some of you that go, great, thank you for handling that for me. There's others of you that go, thank you for handling that for me, because now I have an easy way to teach people more about their health, about their well-being. Now I have a way to get in front of people, and I don't have to do the work and the research and the graphic design and the editing and the grammar and the speech writing and all that goes along with teaching people effectively about scientific topics that have research behind them. That's all done for you. So if you're a content creator, as we call you, and you are looking to figure out, what should I be talking about? What should I be sharing? I want to build my audience. I want to get more viewers. I want to get more engagement. I don't want to just do the advertising. I want to build what we call a health tribe, a large following of people you can communicate with for free. No money spent on advertising that you can connect with through your email, through your social, and when they get in your office. Then using these types of tactics that we put together here for you at the Smart Chiropractor is the way to go. This is one of those all-star topics. It appeals to lots of people. I'll say almost everyone. In fact, I'm not sure I can think of anyone it doesn't apply to. So if you're looking for ways, if you're looking for opportunities, if you're looking for excuses and reasons to be able to reach out to more people and elevate their mood and their bodies, then posture is the topic. Mental health and its connection to posture is a phenomenal way to enter people's conversation and help them with things they don't even know that you can help them with. And that's the beauty and that's the point. That's called learning. And that's why we always recommend that you think about teaching and inviting consistently. Why? Because most people are not going to go to a search engine, type in chiropractor my town, for many other things besides the obvious musculoskeletal conditions that people think that we can help them with. And yet you and I know there's so much more. Well, how are they going to know there's so much more? Answer, we're all going to work together to share those ideas with them by teaching and inviting consistently. This is the perfect topic to do it with. Jeff?
Yeah, anybody listening and watching, if you'd like to learn more, head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. Again, that is thesmartchiropractor.com. We build all of the campaigns as well as having all the automation tools so that you can get out there, so you can fill the holes in your bucket, as we like to say. You can teach and invite consistently. I don't think there's anybody listening or watching that would argue the fact if you were constantly and consistently communicating great information to the people in your community and the people on your email list and your social following, that your practice wouldn't be better for it. So if you'd like help with that, head over to thesmartchiropractor.com. And I think it's time to see some of this in action. Let's go over to our member highlights segment on today's Smart Chiropractor show. Welcome to the member highlights segment on today's Smart Chiropractor show. Let's get that little overlay. There we go. All right. Today we are going to take a look at Dr. Michael Egan. He practices at Motion Health Center, and he is about as far away on the globe as possible from where I'm sitting here in Tampa, Florida. And he is doing a great job utilizing Smart Chiropractor material across his LinkedIn channel to drive traffic back to his blog. We've seen a few docs doing this, and I love it, because this is not specifically in our instructions. This is a doc taking the information, understanding how to utilize it, and taking action. So the beauty is he doesn't need to waste the time, effort, and energy, quite frankly, researching, crafting, creating the blog, identifying the keywords, all the links. We hook him up with all of that as we do all of our Smart Chiropractor members. He then gets to post it to his website, improve his SEO, improve his search. Great to have consistent content on your website from a Google perspective. Also great from a human being perspective. Somebody heads over to your blog, they have questions, who you are, what you do, what's going on. Having a blog each and every week with updated information tying into your monthly content campaign is a great way to attract more new patients into your practice while doing everybody in your audience, all of your health tribe, a super solid by showcasing fantastic information. So I'm going to share my screen real quick here. We'll take a look at exactly what Dr. Egan is doing. This is his LinkedIn page. You can see here. And he has highlighted this graphic right here. This graphic came across from our Smart Chiropractor team. We not only hook you up with all the copy and the text, but we give you the slick and sweet looking graphics as well. You can see right here, it automatically, when he typed this in, it created the nice image because he's got that on his blog. So I could click it, but I already have it open on a tab. Let's head over to his blog and take a look at what that looks like on his blog. So anybody that clicks over, he's got a nice looking website here. So Dr. Egan doing a great job utilizing the graphic that we give him up at the top. And then you can see right here, he's got the bottom line, why it matters, as well as those next steps. And at the bottom, for anybody really concerned, and there are some countries out there, municipalities, where you need to be real concerned, we have the science source linked as well. So that way he knows all the information that he is putting out there is science-backed, and he also knows that it has been copywritten in a way to draw as much attention as possible. So the only gripe I'm going to give for Dr. Mike here is that it's the end of May, and he's just getting to some of his April content here, so we're not going to hold that against him. But that's why you see the auto accidents being highlighted, the most common injuries after a car accident, which is literally what people in his community are going to be searching for. And guess what? If he has no content around that, they can't find him. But if he does, which he does through the Smart Chiropractor, he is the answer to that question. That dramatically increases the likelihood that people are going to connect with him, and that only helps build his brand, build more trust, and help people in his community get important answers to the questions they have around their health. Jason, what do you think?
I think it's awesome. This is the way it works. We give you the toolbox of information, of content, of graphics, of research, and you get to build the practice of your dreams. And when I say the practice of your dreams, we're talking about people coming in because they are learning from you. You know, we've been interviewing some of the most popular, most followed chiropractors on different social networks, Facebook, Instagram, and others. And at this point, we can safely say that there is a significant difference between those patients that come to see you because they've been following you and actually think of you almost as a celebrity, and those people that have no idea who you are, have never met you before, and are coming in basically interviewing you to see if they're willing to give you a few dollars and let you crack their neck, maybe just for a few visits, if it works just even a little bit. It is a completely different way to practice when people come in hoping that you will accept them as a patient, willing to do just about anything that you suggest that they do, excited and enthusiastic to be in your presence and to be a client or patient of yours. That is what happens when you put yourself in an authority or expert status type of place. If you've ever been starstruck by somebody that you've seen in a movie or on television, they're a human being just like you and I are. But because of where they are, because of what they do, we have a different reverence for them. In fact, if you follow them enough, watch them enough, you actually feel like you know them. You feel connected to them. You've got your favorite celebrities, musicians, athletes, movie stars, whatever it may be, that if you saw them, you'd A, be excited, and B, you'd feel a connection because of how much time you've spent together. You have the opportunity to be doing those exact same things as well. When it comes to healthcare, we're not looking for you to be, goofy celebrities that do silly things for shock value. You're supposed to be an expert in the human body. And you're supposed to be a teacher, doctor means teacher, helping people understand how they can take better care of themselves. We make it easy for you to do exactly that so you can get those benefits. You can enjoy the benefit of people coming to you, excited to see you, enthusiastic. They have the opportunity to get to meet you. And I'm not exaggerating. This is what influencers tell us is exactly their experience in their practice. When a follower who comes in, I've been watching you, I've been reading your blogs, I've been seeing your videos, I've been receiving your emails. Thank you for generously sharing this information for me. I'm now ready to take action. Thank you for not pushing me too hard, for not selling me too hard, and for not giving up on me because I wasn't ready when you wanted me to come in. I was ready when I wanted to come in. So you got to stay consistent with teaching and inviting. Great job. And yes, the months are designed to go in action, so you've always got something to do. But guess what? You're always in charge of what you teach and when you teach it and how you teach it. And yes, you can teach more than one topic at one time if you'd like to. There's a large audience of people waiting, hungry to learn from someone just like you, waiting for them to go, you know what? Today's the day I'm going to actually step up my game and start teaching more people about how they can achieve a greater level of health and well-being, whether it's a car accident, whether it's sit in front of their computer or their device all the time, whatever it may be, you are an expert in helping people live better lives. Why are you keeping it such a secret? Get out there and talk about not just yourself, but how you can help people more, and you will be amazed at how people come in once you share that information. As you can see, we're making it easy, we're making it beautiful, we're making it scientific. It's up to you to take the baton and run with it and create the practice of your dreams. Great choice. Great job.
Yeah, well done, Dr. Michael Egan. Thank you for being a Smart Chiropractor member. Docs listening and watching, if you'd love to learn more, head over to smartchiropractor.com. Big takeaway message, if you would like to have more traffic coming to your website that become more new patients, post blogs and make sure you post those blogs to the social channels so people know that they are there. So pretty simple to say, a little bit harder to do. That's why we are happy to help you at thesmartchiropractor.com. Let's head over to our featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to the featured guest segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Jason and I had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Rebecca Hopkins of the Wellness Studio a few weeks ago. You might know her as the chiropractic guru on Instagram. She has a passion to help others thrive, and that's what led her to become a chiropractor. She believes in a holistic and multidisciplinary approach to patient care, and she's done a fantastic job building 20,000 plus followers on Instagram that has helped her build her practice. So today's interview is with Dr. Rebecca Hopkins, how to generate thousands of Instagram followers with the chiropractic guru. Hey, Smart Chiropractors. Welcome to Smart Chiropractor Show. In today's featured guest segment, I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my co-host, Dr. Jason Deitch. And today we have an opportunity to sit down with somebody that I've messaged on Instagram many moons ago, the chiropractic guru, Dr. Rebecca. Thank you for taking some time and chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And I want to kick it off right there. You are a big-time power user on the Instagram platform. What got you started? When did you start with it? How did that begin for you?
Yes, that's a loaded question, but it all started about 3 years ago when I actually moved to Texas. I'm originally from Ottawa, Canada, and so moving here was a big adventure, big step in my career, but also in my life. And it all kind of started and stemmed because I didn't know anybody here, and I knew I was going to be starting my professional career here in Texas. So naturally, being from Ottawa, I originally thought I was going to be practicing there. So, I thought it would be an easy transition. Our family owns a restaurant also where I'm from. So pretty well known in the community. And I thought, okay, perfect. We're set. Like, I'll open up a practice. I'll be good to go. Well, that wasn't the plan. Everything kind of shifted and pivoted. So moved to Fort Worth, Texas. And I was like, well, no one knows Dr. Rebecca out here. How am I going to get my name out there and get people to know me and what I do and how I can help? So I started the chiropractic guru from scratch, 0 followers. I did have a personal page, but I decided I wanted to just dive right in and just see what I can do with it. And that's what I did. So in 2018, towards the end of 2018, I started the page. And honestly, at the beginning, it was just to share the profession, share the knowledge that I had. I was fresh out of school and very excited and just really determined to promote value in education and the chiropractic profession and how it can help everybody. So I was just there, didn't know what I was doing, posting here and there. And I really, honestly, everything changed when I took it seriously. And I sat down and said, you know what, I really need to, eventually I'm going to be practicing and I really need to get my name out there and get people to know me. So I took it serious and just decided to go from there, learning along the way, different tactics, different strategies, how to grow, how to create engagement on my platform. And it kind of all just stemmed from there. And now I'm at over 20,000 followers. So it's been awesome.
That is awesome and remarkable that you started from scratch. Dr. Rebecca, I'd love if you wouldn't mind just sort of sharing with other chiros about your journey. I'm assuming you didn't have 20,000 followers the first week, the first month, So help chiropractors understand what should they expect? I mean, this is a long game. You said you started in 2018. We're in 2022. What should somebody expect as far as a process and a journey, and what does taking it seriously mean exactly, so they can know, oh, I'm dabbling versus I'm focused on getting results?
Right. I think everything changed when I decided to use my platform to grow my practice and grow my business. So that's when I kind of treated it like, a business, like I put it into my schedule, like as if it was part of my day and a part of the tasks that I had to do. So, it took me about 3 years to grow to 20,000 followers. So it took me quite a long time to figure it out. But once I did figure it out, I was able just to keep going from there and going from there. And so much so I created a blueprint that now I teach other doctors how to do the same. What's great about it is that, for me, it was all trial and error. So it took me 3 years to do it. But the doctors that I teach, the whole goal is to teach them all the tips and strategies and the errors that I did and had to go through for that time span to be much shorter, so that they can use their platform to grow. But yeah, it's just being consistent, showing up for your audience, treating it like a job and treating it like it's a part of your business, because it is. It's a marketing tool. And just realizing that today, in today's age, Instagram is definitely something that needs to be, or social media in general, needs to be a part of your marketing plan. Because believe it or not, everybody is going to Instagram or TikTok or whatnot to find their healthcare professionals, their makeup artists, you name it. Everyone is on there to find something. So being on there is so crucial and so important.
Yeah. I could not agree more. One of the things that comes to mind for me following your page for a while is you really, encapsulate a lot of what Jason and I talk about, which is teach and invite consistently. You're great with consistency. You lead with education. What's your take on that balance between, calls to action and promotion versus education? How do you think about that today? And as we get into 2022, because things always evolve, that balance between education and promotion.
Yeah, so I like to think of my Instagram page as a page where people can come get to know me and get to know what I do. I know that a lot of people struggle with selling on social media, and I don't necessarily create my content to where you feel like you're being sold to. It's more so sharing the journey, sharing experiences, sharing how you can help and add value to the audience. And through that, you sell naturally. So I think that we are all being sold everywhere else we go. You turn on the TV, radio, the internet in general. We're being sold left and right. And I think that for social media, it's the last place that people want to be sold to as well. So just determining different techniques that you're not necessarily selling, but you are getting people to, I like to call it the know, like, and trust factor. So people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And then in turn, really interested in what you have to do, what you have to say, and your offers and services and things like that. So I don't necessarily use like hard sales on my platform in general.
And that's probably why you have so many followers, obviously. So on the other side of the pendulum for all of that, I'm sure a lot of chiropractors are wondering, is it worth my time? Should I be blocking out time every day like you're suggesting? What can you tell chiropractors in terms of expectations regarding outcomes? Do you receive patients exclusively from Instagram and then referrals and people that learn through there? Do you do other marketing? Is this really your major form of attracting new patients? And are you able to generate revenue beyond just chiropractic services by having your following? How should chiropractors think about what kind of outcomes they can expect over what kind of time periods?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think just really sitting down and figuring out what you have to enjoy it. I wouldn't say that doing it and forcing yourself to do it would necessarily help you and be beneficial. You have to enjoy it. You have to want to put in the work and the effort. I will say this, you have to be in it for the long run. It's not an overnight thing. It takes time to build and to grow. But honestly, I think it's the best decision I've ever made because I don't pay for marketing, Google ads. Instagram is my main referral source. So for me, it's everything. So I put everything into it and I receive everything in return. So it just depends on what you're looking for, what you want in return. But putting in the work and taking the time and blocking out your schedule and doing that stuff, you will really reap the benefits. So really focusing on that, I think is very beneficial, especially these days. And I always tell doctors, why wouldn't you be on social media? It's completely free. And so you're creating lifelong patients from the platform in an organic way for free. Yeah. So I think the return on investment is great. Yeah.
We could not agree more. I definitely agree with you. How much, if you look at your Instagram account and you were to say, there's the public facing, your posts and your stories, and obviously then there's the backside, which is the direct messages, etc. If you just had to rough estimate, are you spending a lot of time in direct messaging, either proactively or just addressing questions? Is most of your time spent on the content side, on the publicly facing? How does that balance out? I know it can probably vary, but if you just had to say week to week, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I would say that, of course, I get the messages. I don't say I spend too much time in the DMs. I think a lot of people would assume that I would. I mean, questions here and there for sure. But I think that a lot of people assume that I'm in the DMs probably a lot. a lot of my sales don't happen through DM. So I'm not there a lot. And then a lot of the questions that I get are through just comments and things like that. So not a whole lot of time on DMs. Where I do see a lot of traffic is the link in my bios and getting people to schedule straight from there. But yeah, I spend way more time focusing on content and really valuing that and making sure that I'm getting my message across. I always like to think about it when you do have a plan in mind, a marketing plan, that I'm always trying to speak to my ideal patient that I want to see. Who is that person that I want to serve, and who am I talking to? So when I create content, that's my focus. I'm creating it around them and trying to solve their problems and their pain points. Yeah. So I would say content for sure. And I think that's time well spent for anyone trying to grow their platform is on the content, because if you're not posting anything, you're not on your stories, you're not interacting and creating engagement, then you may be an expert in chiropractic, but no one knows because you're not sharing anything.
You are singing from our song sheet. We feel the exact same way about all of these things. Rebecca, what can you tell us about your team and your resources? And, do you do this by yourself, or obviously you're not those are not selfie pictures, so you have somebody talented at least on your team. What does it take for a chiropractor to be able to do this?
Yeah, honestly, just yourself. I'm pretty much a one-man show. I do have my husband and a photographer that helps me, but pretty much a one-man show. You don't need much. As long as you have a good phone that has a camera and video that can take videos, that's all you need. Honestly, to this day, I still use my phone to record. I may take my professional pictures here and there that help out a lot. Those posts I use mainly to more personal posts that I share into my life and things like that. But the content that I share for patients, for potential patients, is on my phone. So you don't need much. You don't need to spend much. You can do it right now, right where you are, and be successful.
That is great information. And I think a lot of docs get that paralysis because I don't have the right insert whatever here. And it's great to hear from somebody who has been exceptionally successful on the platform. It's just not true. Smashing those belief patterns. Let me ask you a question about stories versus feed. Are you doing more posts, more stories? Do you make a post and then reference it in a story? How do you think about utilizing the different pieces within Instagram's architecture?
Yeah, I use my feed as sharing valuable information. So anything that I want to address for example, for me, I do a lot of the mobility stretches exercises. So those types of things I usually use my feed for. When it comes to stories, I like to think about it as, I always tell my clients, it's like your own little Netflix series. So it's one of those tools, and I love that about Instagram, that you can jump on and really show people behind the scenes of your office, behind the scenes of your life, like get people in who Rebecca is. Like I want people to, and we go back to the know, like, and trust factor. And I think stories does a really good job with that. The story really portrays who you are and what you're about, your personality, your heart, your motives, all of that. So I think that it really paints a great picture and kind of shows little ins and outs of your life, and you can use it as a way to show people what your office looks like. Because I've noticed that when I show like my treatments that I do or what my office looks like, it's a familiar space for people who haven't been in your office yet to be like, wow, okay, I know what it looks like. I know her face. I've seen her talk. So when they come into my office, they're pretty much, and I've heard this time and time again, I feel like I know you. I feel like coming to see you was super easy because I've been following you and I know you, and it was comfortable and it was really easy. I know we've all had those situations where we may have been to a doctor's office or any professional and not felt that comfortable. And so I think Instagram does a great job, and the stories do a great job at really like making people feel comfortable before they step into your office and showing them who you are and having fun with it too. I think it's a great tool just to kind of have fun and be yourself.
Yeah. Well, you're the one doing the great job. And to that point, You can't just sign up an accountant. It isn't up to them doing it. It is up to you doing it. And that's what
Right.
I'd love to learn more about, which is how do you come up with what you should talk about? The intuitive, perhaps counterintuitive sense is chiropractors think that they always got to be selling chiropractic, and they'll never get a second chance to say something later about chiropractic that they should have said now immediately. I look at your feed and you're recommending some of your favorite products, and sometimes you're stretching. In others, there's just pictures of you saying "Have a great day." How do you sort of choose what you're going to talk about and really find that balance of not overselling things? How do you pick your topics? Do you do it in advance? Is it year by year, month by month, week by week? How do you think about putting together what you're going to talk about?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the first step is really figuring out who you're trying to talk to. Because if you don't know who you're talking to, it's going to be very hard to create content and come up with ideas. So figuring out your ideal patient. And what I tell my clients is sometimes they're students or they're still, of course, still in school, or they're new grads, and they haven't really had much experience, and they usually tell me, like, what does that even mean? What is my ideal client? What is my ideal patient? I don't know. So there's two ways you can do that to really figure out who you're trying to talk to. First way is, let's say you've been treating patients. I basically tell my clients to think of that patient that you love seeing in your office. You just absolutely love treating. They light up your day when they come in. That's probably going to be someone that you want in your office over and over and over again. And the second way, if you don't have any experience in chiropractic as far as treating goes, you can create a patient avatar. So make someone up, someone that you would love to treat. And we do that often, actually, and it works really, really well. But once you have that person in mind, now you're set up to where you know what content to create for that person. We want to find the person that we're trying to talk to and then create content to speak to them and to help them and improve their quality of life. So the way I do that, and coming back to how do I know what to post, I create and sit down and plan out what's called your 3 content pillars. So 3 to 5 content pillars is what I go by. I stick to 3, and I actually have an exercise, a freebie on my Instagram that you can go to right away and really start figuring that out. So 3 things that you're super passionate about. And a way to balance chiropractic and other things is to pick 3 topics that you're passionate about. All 3 don't have to be about chiropractic in your profession. It could be women empowerment, motivation, inspiration. The other one can be chiropractic related stuff. So you want to talk about, for me, for example, it's mobility and exercise. Like, I try to have people go to my page, look at my video and say, okay, I'm going to try these right away. It's very actionable. They can do it right away from home and relieve some of the pain and tension that they have. So it could be really broad. It could be very specific if you wanted to. And then the third thing could be basically your personal life. So you want to share more about your family, your wedding, anything personal you can share about. So knowing those 3 content pillars and rotating between them, you can devote 2 or 3 posts to one of them, however you want to split it up. I usually go, chiropractic, motivation, and then personal. Chiropractic, motivation, personal. So it's not so overwhelming to the audience, and it's all about chiropractic. It doesn't necessarily have to be all about chiropractic. So that's my style. But I know a lot of people, for example, realtors, they don't have much personal stuff in there. They're just posting about homes and anything to do with realty. So it really depends on how you want to portray your content and push it out there. Yeah. That's what I would say.
That's great. Great advice, great tips, and a great strategic approach. I love it. How do you protect your mindset? Getting up every day, being publicly facing isn't easy in the best of circumstances, and being out there, the bigger your audience grows, there's always the haters, there's always the who's paying attention. As you build and grow and developed your own following, do you have any mindset tips for docs? Favorite books? Do you meditate every day? What sort of keeps you motivated to have that consistency, which we always say consistency is the #1 predictor of success when marketing, and in many things in life. However, so many of us in so many ways, struggle with it day in and day out, especially docs when we talk about building and growing their practice. How do you think about mindset, and perhaps what's a practice or two that you've found to be super helpful to reach your level of success?
Yeah, I think it could be very overwhelming, especially social media. It could feel like it's consuming most of your day, but you have to protect your mind and your mindset. It's what allows you to show up as you and be authentic and real and just enjoy it. When it comes to a point where you're exhausted and you don't enjoy it anymore, it's not really benefiting you. So different practices that I do, I just go to what I love to do, and that's exercising. And I love reading. I've really been into trying to read one book a month. So just setting aside time to do that, and to just I've been guilty of being on it too much. And my husband have to say, hello, can you come back to earth? So because it's a part of my business, it's hard to separate, that from your personal. So I would say go back to things you love doing, whether that's, exercise, reading a book, meditation, really anything, like going shopping therapy, anything like that. But I think one thing that's really helped me, and I've learned this from someone else, is to treat it like it's a part of your business. So for example, anything that you want to do with social media, put a time cap on it, block it into your schedule, and devote, let's say, 2 hours to do all the things you want to do for your social media platform. And then basically blocking that out, and anything over 2 hours, don't do. Just stick to 2.
Yep. You got to set those boundaries. Rebecca, you have been fantastic. I love the strategies, the tips. I'm going to encourage everybody out there. Instagram, The Chiropractic Guru. Be sure to check out her Instagram blueprint as well. Thank you so much for coming on. We will drop those links down below. We appreciate you coming on and sharing, and keep up the incredible work. Docs, make sure at the bare minimum you want to head over and follow her and see what she's up to, and I'd encourage you to pick up that Instagram blueprint. Thank you. Great interview with the chiropractic guru, Dr. Rebecca Hopkins. One thing I want to touch on there that she brought up, and I think it's incredibly important, is understanding who your ideal patient is. Jason, I know you and I spoke with the doc, probably a year ago now, and she refused to concede that she had an ideal. Everybody with the spine, and there's right and wrong, and there's not too many things that are wrong. And I'm just going to go on record, that's wrong. You can get away with that perhaps from a certain amount of time. You're super charismatic. You have the right relationships in your community. However, inevitably, that is going to stunt your growth, and it certainly is going to stunt your ability to go deep. And I think no matter who you are out there, there are certain types of patients that you resonate with, that you get fired up when you see them in practice. And quite frankly, it can't be everybody. So what are those people? What are the characteristics? Maybe it's psychographics, maybe it's demographics, maybe it's what they're into for hobbies. There could be a variety of different things that make up your ideal patient population. My transition point here, my pivot, is think about them when you're creating content. For example, all of my branding is always focused upon other chiropractors. You can clearly see that I do not have a B2C, a business to consumer brand. It is really focused on attracting the interest and attention of you, a chiropractor out there listening and watching. And you can do, and you should do, and I'd encourage you to do the same for your practice. As you are building and creating content, how can you fine-tune the content? If we're providing that and you're a member of the Smart Chiropractor, great. When you're using those video scripts, how can you frame that line? How can you provide a little bit of an intro that speaks and leans into that ideal client? If you're using the blog content, what's that call to action? These are all things that we help and assist with, but definitely if you are an independent content creator, or you know you should be and you're not yet, one of the best and easiest places to get started is to identify who is your ideal patient, who's going to fire you up and get you jazzed each and every day when you come in and you see a schedule loaded with that or those people. Who are they? How can you speak to their pain points or the performance benefits they can get out of the care that you deliver? Meet them in the middle there. That's a great way to teach and invite consistently. Jason, what are your thoughts?
I completely agree with you, Jeff. That concept goes both ways. Who are the people that fire you up? But you could also probably imagine and think about who are the people that get fired up by you? That, we all have, I don't know how else to say it, but sort of an energetic signature. They've heard it say that you attract your tribe with your vibe. That literally on a scientific quantum level, we put out energy. Everybody's got a sort of energetic signature. And we all have favorites. We all have people we are attracted to versus, in some cases, repelled from. That is an energetic vibration. And when you start understanding humans from that level, then what Jeff is, alluding to here is no different than saying, I can make sounds come out of my mouth and anybody can hear it who can hear, which isn't everybody, right? There's a lot of people that, you can communicate with, but you'll be more effective communicating with people if you actually speak the same language as the person you're trying to connect with, both for your benefit and for theirs. And so whether it's an enthusiasm towards a particular, as you said, hobby or a particular technique or a particular condition or a particular whatever it may be, when we work with people who have things in common with us, we're common goals, common visions, common history, commonalities, that helps more people. It just makes it easier for them to understand who you are, what you're about, what you offer. And it makes you more attractive to those people because they get you, they understand you. And I guess for those that kind of say, well, no, I still don't believe it, I think I can help everyone, let me, I guess, maybe position it this way. Which restaurant would you go to? The restaurant that has the philosophy, we can feed everybody. And instead of making any particular claim about a particular type of food or a particular type of audience, they go, no. If you're hungry and you've got a mouth and a stomach, we serve food for all. That's one approach, right? That's often what it sounds like when we're like, we can help everyone. And it's true you can help everyone, but that doesn't mean that everyone wants your help. The other side of the equation is going back to restaurants, is if you knew a place that served the best cheeseburger on the planet, then the assumption is if you don't love a cheeseburger, you're not going to come. But that's not always true. Number one, cheeseburger lovers know where they're going to go. Okay, that's an easy yes. Okay, as opposed to cheeseburger lovers not going to probably be attracted to, if you're hungry, we've got food, come and get it, because we serve all. But if you're back in the we serve the best cheeseburger on the planet, you will have a line down the block for cheeseburger lovers, and those cheeseburger lovers are probably bringing friends and family and other people who go, I don't need cheeseburgers, but what else you got? So there is a way and a method to the madness of, and I know it's sort of paradoxical. Well, if they've got a spine and they're breathing, yes, you can adjust them and you can help them. But that's not the question we're asking here. We're asking, who are the people who are going to be most attracted to wanting to come to your practice, to learn more, to want your services, and to want to stick around for your services, not just kick the tires because you seduced them with some deep discount that, quite honestly, some of these deep discounts, I almost look at and go, how do you only have that few people coming in? There's just something nonsensical about it, that even when you make it cheap, I'll even dare say when you make it free, you still don't have people rushing through the doors to come on in when there's no barriers whatsoever. So there's something to the idea of making sure that you're charging enough that people have a perceived value of what they're paying for, and that you're speaking a language your ideal audience will not only understand, but will like, appreciate, and want more of. So I know it's a tough one for some chiropractors to get around. They're like, no, but I can help everyone. Yes, you can help everyone, but not everybody wants your help. So who are the people that most want to work with you, and who are the people you most want to work with? And when you can solve that equation, you're going to be making their life and your life much easier.
Absolutely. Let's head over to strategic marketing on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Welcome to Strategic Marketing on today's Smart Chiropractor show. We're going to answer the question, or maybe it's not a question. We're going to let you know the easiest way to improve your patient education. This was a topic that came up in the Smart Chiropractor group over the past week, and it got some interesting responses. So I felt as though it was a good opportunity to bring out on the show and have a discussion around. And in my mind, the easiest way to improve your patient education is to ensure that the screens in your office have great content playing on them. Now, I said at the time, I think in the thread, you have a captive audience. I feel like it was like taken as you're not holding people hostage or keeping people waiting on purpose to see you. However, I don't care if it's 20 seconds or 20 minutes. That is, that's like holy grail time. When you have a captive audience, somebody is waiting, regardless of how long that is, in the four walls of your practice. When else do you have the opportunity to have their attention? And my question to you perhaps would be, what are you using to curate their attention? And having streaming video in your reception area is, in my opinion, the easiest. You plug it in and you let it ride. And one of the best ways, and pretty much one of the only ways, let's just tell it as it is, beyond the conversations that you're physically having in your office, in order to help people understand more about their health and the benefits that you provide. Now, some of you might say, as the comments we received, well, I don't know, patients are coming in and they're on their phone. Absolutely, that is a real thing. But they're looking up. And if you have something there, they are going to look up. And I will take a net positive of 2 seconds of screen time education per patient over the course of a 10-year career to 0. There is not a single way you can convince me that you are not going to be on top. You're not going to get a net positive benefit for your practice by streaming video. Now, we created that. We include it within the Smart Chiropractor. We call it Smart TV. I'll share that real quick. You can head over to the Smart Chiropractor and check it all out. There are a few different companies, services that provide exactly this sort of service to you. So feel free, check out what's out there, see what resonates with you. But there is no question in my mind, Jason, the easiest way to up your game on the patient education side is to plug in a television, turn off the news, please, if you're playing the news, and ensure that you have high quality messaging that teaches and invites consistently going across those screens in your practice. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. It's funny. I was at my chiropractor just a few days ago, last week, and I was sitting there waiting, and nothing that great was on my phone, and I was going to be respectful. He's got no phone signs all over, so I followed. You might want to have those as well. Another way to get people to be present to what's going on in your office. And as I was looking up and around, I saw his screen, and I had two thoughts. One, that's pretty darn good stuff. And two, it's ours. That's awesome. So it was a double win for me. But it does. It asks questions. It gets people thinking. It keeps them having positive impressions. But what it also does is it shows that you care about teaching people something, not just selling them something. And I know that may sound like a subtle, but it is a distinct difference. When you invest in things that teach people about themselves, that aren't just sales brochures and pamphlets and coupons and gift certificates or whatever it may be to get them in, but in fact, teach them things about themselves that make them go, wait a minute, that is true. I do deserve to be healthy. Wait a minute, that is true. I should be eating more greens. Wait a minute, that is true. Fitness and movement are essential to my life. And all of the messages that keep going out there, when you have that going on in your office, that says, I take it seriously. I want to make sure that my people know the right stuff. And, many of you have been following, some of you haven't, but this idea of sort of making sure that you are programming your mind for the positive is a thing. And I guess, what I've been learning lately, I'll just summarize by saying, either you are programming your mind for yourself for what you want it to be, or somebody else is programming it for you. And if you know you're not the one doing your own programming, then you can assume someone else is doing it for you. And what I mean by that is that we respond to the information we get from our environment. And people who are in your environment should be responding to the information you're putting out. And the more quality information that's beautifully designed, research-based, and really focused on teaching and inviting, getting to the point of what's the bottom line? Why does it matter? What's the research that supports that? What should be my next step? When you just keep it simple, direct, and to the point because you care about me as a consumer and you want what's best for me, then these are little investments that pay large dividends because people get that you really care, that you really focus on making sure they get the information they need to live their best life. So there's nothing easier than plugging in a TV, putting in the cartridge we give you and having it stream month after month after month after month. And wouldn't you know it, it matches your weekly newsletter. It matches your monthly campaign. It matches all the other content that you are using through the Smart Chiropractor. And hopefully the stuff that you're creating because of what you've learned with the Smart Chiropractor that you're taking next level. It gives you a comprehensive professional look that people appreciate. So great topic. It was controversial. You know, chiropractors have a tendency to just sort of think through our own eyes. We judge things based on how we feel about them as chiropractors. And we don't really put ourselves in the patient's perspective or the person's point of view. What does it mean to them? Do they appreciate it? Is it valuable? Does it keep them focused on something you want them to get focused on, as opposed to something you probably don't want them to focus on, which is the stress in their lives or the news or, and I don't understand how practices have outside information coming in, the news, magazines, newspapers, other information that is not from you, supporting chiropractic, supporting the mindset, and inspiring and teaching people how they can live their best life. If it doesn't do that, I'm suggesting you get it out of your practice to give people the experience they deserve. It's a little investment, doesn't get much easier than this.
I could not agree more. Streaming video, do it. It is the best and easiest way that you can improve your patient education in a passive fashion while people are in your practice. There is nothing easier that you can do, and it's going to improve your patient experience as well. Let's head over to Business Principles, our final segment on today's Smart Chiropractor Show. Business Principles on the Smart Chiropractor Show. We are finishing off a fantastic Smart Chiropractor Show today, talking about subscription healthcare on demand. Jason, I saw that line, those few words put together. It's going to tie back to our Mindset Mentor segment that kicked off this show, and I thought it was a perfect launch point to discuss what docs need to know and why the words subscription healthcare on demand should matter to them.
It is a great way to position what you do with words that most people want, most people are interested in. So let's just sort of break this down a little bit. You hear subscription. What does that mean? Subscription means that it's an ongoing relationship. And that is the point of why health professionals, why you should be providing an opportunity for people to become a member or a subscriber to your practice and or to your information. We break down a lot of different ways to build these relationships, but when you hear membership subscription, what you should be thinking is relationship with me and my practice. That is the thought. That instead of just saying, oh, give me $50, $60, $70, whatever your per visit fee, instead of saying, thank you for paying for today's visit, hopefully I'll see you next Tuesday. We've got you on the schedule, but basically there's no guarantee they're coming back, right? Maybe even if they prepaid and whatever. The idea that I willingly want to have an ongoing connection, relationship. I want to learn from you. I want to have access to you. I want to have access to your services. I want to know and have the peace of mind that if I need my doctor, I am a member, I am a subscriber, to be able to connect with you. And that is a sense of peace. That is a sense of confidence. That is a sense of security that people have. You've heard of concierge medicine. You hear this upscale idea that you can become a member of a boutique type of a practice. Well, now that's scaling nationwide. There are medical facilities now, I won't mention names necessarily, that have memberships. You join for a very low price. You get their app. You get premium visit times. You get access to all kinds of bonuses and discounts on things, extra services, because you're a member. We all learn membership has its privileges. So there's a lot of reasons why, and I guess let's just complete the thought with on demand. I don't know anybody who doesn't want instant gratification. I want it, and I want it now. So offering people the ability to have an ongoing connection, an ongoing relationship with you and your practice by value stacking, by offering those people that go, yeah, I'm into you. I'm into this place. I want you to be my doctor. I don't just want you to be my adjuster for today. I want you to be my doctor for the foreseeable future until I cancel. That's looking at things from a patient or client's point of view. And I know, this is where it gets a little bit murky, because if you think of yourself as a crisis provider and all you do is limit your services to reactive care, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I can see how it's hard to wrap your brain around a membership or a subscription if you're exclusively limiting your services to reactive care. It doesn't make sense because you don't know when their next crisis is going to be. But if you pivot that mindset to say, yes, I take care of crisis care, and I also have a percentage of my practice that I focus on proactive care, performance care, call it what you want, but it is not related to reacting to a symptom, reacting to an accident, reacting to an injury. It is based on the values people have of wanting to invest in their health, wanting to invest their time to learn more and have access to the best price they can get, maybe with some extra privileges like access to asking you questions, access to members-only events, access to digital membership areas that you've invested in putting time to educate people who become members. There's all kinds of ways to do it. And of course, subscribers, right? We're talking about subscription healthcare. Well, if there's a product of any kind that people consume on a regular basis for their ongoing benefit, maybe like a supplement of some sort that they take every day proactively to improve their health. Again, I'm not talking about treatment. I'm talking about wellness, healthcare, proactive care, whatever word you want to use for focusing on growing the positive. You don't have to wait for things negative to happen. You can improve the positive. And there is a percentage of the population that is actively interested in improving the positive. If you'll appreciate that and work with people by offering them almost through a second front door. You keep the whatever door you've got right now. I'm in pain. Do you take my insurance? Can I come on in? I was in an accident. Great. Whatever you're doing that's working for you now, keep doing what's working for you now. But what if in addition to that, you had a population, a percentage of your practice that came in because they knew it was good for them and they knew how much it cost and they didn't have to wait for insurance to reimburse it. But they said, listen, if you can make it affordable for me, I'm coming on a regular basis. Think of it like your gym membership and so on. So that's the opportunity. We've got to start speaking today's language. We have covered in other segments. There's memberships and subscriptions everywhere. Maybe not yet in your practice. The operative word is yet. So lean in. Think about what can you create as an experience. Is it an event in your practice? Is it some online access? Is it the supplements they're already buying that you can actually provide for them when they come for their monthly visit? What can you add to your experience to give those people that are not just the typical reactive people? Oh, I found you on Google, it hurts. But are those people that said, my friends said that they've been improving by working with you, and I'm looking to improve as well. I want to age gracefully. I don't want to wait till I'm broken down in order to then start taking care of myself. You got a program for me for that? Really? Do I just come for a few visits and stop? Or is this an ongoing thing? And do I get access to asking you questions? Can you keep teaching me more so I can be better? You do? Sign me up. So we'll be talking more and more as time goes on, but hopefully start leaning into the question, what kind of membership, what kind of subscription could you be offering that's congruent with your values, congruent with your ethics, but ultimately helps your patients and clients come in more frequently for the care they didn't know they could get from you, proactive care. Most people, you ask them, they go, oh, no, I don't need a chiropractor. What does that mean? That means that they have no understanding that you can do something to help them be healthy. You can only help them in some cases for a limited time if they have a very limited amount of musculoskeletal conditions. That's not their fault. That's our opportunity and responsibility to do something about. The challenge I have to ask you is, if somebody called up your practice today, right now, and said, I feel great, I want to improve my health, how much does it cost for me to get your care in your office? Would you and or your staff be trained to even know how to handle that phone call? And if you're not, and you don't even know what you would offer them, how you would invite them in, we've got a plan for that. We've got a program for that. We've got a membership program for that. If you don't have that set up, then there's a very good reason why you don't have more and more people coming to you for the health of it. So if that's what you're looking for, if you want to decrease your financial stress yourself, if you want to stay current and be able to offer people a modern model of healthcare, this is not just limited to Jason and Jeff going, I got an idea. This is in lots of places already, except here. Chiropractors just haven't gotten the message yet. Here's the memo. We're waking you up to say, this is what's going on in the world today. This is what people expect from their doctors. It's time for us to get with the times and start adapting to offering the programs people have proven that they are willing to pay for and they actually really want. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
I could not agree more. I think this is the time for chiropractors to really understand what's going on in the healthcare space and meet the market where it's at and not get left behind. You know, I think ultimately, could you get away with a fantastic chiropractic career and never offer memberships or subscriptions? Probably. But just like email to me is not an option anymore. Being present on social media is not an option. Yes, if you're looking towards the twilight of your career, you can probably get away with not being engaged with it. However, if you are not looking towards the twilight of your career, or even if you are a veteran chiropractor and you're looking for continued growth until that last day in practice, these things just are starting to become far less of just a nice to have and far more of a need to have. A modern chiropractic practice is in touch with what's going on with people and in the healthcare landscape at large. And I totally empathize. I think as being a practicing chiropractor in trying to manage all of it and figure it all out, super hard. So if this is a new concept to you, don't stress about it. That's why we've been really digging in over the last couple of years to understand what's being brought to market. How is this being brought to market? And the beautiful thing about what we do is that it's not like this weird stretch. I mean, whether you are somebody who's had maintenance care in your practice since day one, maybe you haven't offered maintenance care because you don't like how it's historically been offered and you're more of a rehab and gym type model, you should have memberships and subscriptions. And it's really just a matter of defining why you want to have it, which is why we talk mindset each and every week, then understanding how to implement it each and every step of the way. So this is why we spend time talking about it. We're spending a lot of time these last couple of months identifying where are the challenges, where are the opportunities, and as time moves on, as Payday Practice comes out in the next few weeks, you'll see us really answering and laying that yellow brick road of, okay, now here's how you put this stuff into action. So in my mind, all chiropractors out there, this is something that should be on your radar. If you're not ready to take action yet, don't worry about it. Just keep listening. Keep as we talked about at the beginning of the show, keep looking out for what other people are doing, other businesses in your town, emails that you're getting. Check it out. Start to expand your vision a little bit, because I think, I'll go on record, I don't care what kind of chiropractor you are and how you practice. There is a membership and subscription model that can enhance the care that you deliver, reduce the stress that you have on a fee-for-service model, and ultimately generate more consistent and durable revenue for your practice over time. Throwing that out there as a challenge. So if you are somebody saying, that's not me, let me know. Jeff at thesmartchiropractor.com. Hit me up. I would love to explore it because I have yet to see a chiropractor that this would not be a perfect fit with. But it takes a little time to understand why you want to do it. And it certainly takes a little bit of time and guidance to understand how you can have a perfectly crafted offer that feels great to you, that resonates with your ideal patients, and that ultimately hits those three big boxes, reduces your stress, increases that revenue, and really reduces that vulnerability on a fee-for-service model. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep paying attention. We are up against the clock, Jason. Thank you, Doc, so much for tuning in and listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We break down all these episodes, put it out so don't miss a thing. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're watching on social, hit that notification button so you can ensure you're with us each and every Tuesday, or when you get to it, we'll be here for you. Thank you so much for being a chiropractor. Thank you for tuning in. On behalf of Jason and our entire team, I'm Dr. Jeff. We'll see you next week on another Smart Chiropractor show. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video on the Smart Chiropractor. To not miss a single thing that's clinically oriented, marketing oriented, or more, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel today.